81 shows around the world, 118
All
different
right.
songs played
81
live.
shows. All right. I did pretty good then. All right.
Ain't that
Yeah.
something? And part of me ain't that something? And part of me tied for the most performed song 42 times, followed by "Here My Dear" 41. 230 volunteers at Kofi Day of service. 37,949 miles traveled on the road. And then they gave some what that's equivalent to, countless friends along the way, and then they thank the fans and share some pictures and things. But yeah, no, it was quite a year, and they're cutting back, and they cut back. That's cutting back for them,
Yeah. Yeah. It
and
sure is.
that doesn't even mention, and it I guess it Kofi's day of service to some degree, but it doesn't mention private shows and private gigs and
Oh yeah, they had
Right.
individual gigs that band members do, and late nights playing shows for shits and giggles, and their time doing interviews and other causes and things like that. Like, this band is insanely busy. I think all 12 of them. Even, I mean, just thinking of Kebby, all the things that the projects and things that he's involved in Atlanta. It's like, I don't know. I'm crazy for thinking that we can actually summarize this band's past year in an hour, but
Right.
we can try. I'll let Larry continue to steer the ship, and Garrett and David, you jump in, whenever you want to.
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll just, I wasn't really thinking about doing that, but I'll just go down the, winter, spring, we'll do it seasonally. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
If
Yeah,
you
I
just
mean,
want to recap what I wrote, I mean, so the winter and the
highlights of
spring.
your highlights.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the winter, spring was great because they toured Florida. I mean, that to me, if I was a Floridian, I would have hit every one of those shows.
well,
And the
we
Dave, I
hit.
think you almost did.
No, we did. I think we got four of them. We didn't hit them all. We did get four, and we were at the. I think the first one of the year was down in Fort Myers, and I
Right.
think you caught that in your write up. That was the first playing of Mr. Clean,
Yeah.
and had to do some research to find out what that was all about. After that show, they
Right.
kind of hooked that on the end of Stand Back or something. It was really
Right.
it was exciting. The first show of the new year, hearing something that had never heard them play before. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was rad combination. And just the way they, sandwiched it in, I think I mentioned this before, but it's to me one thing to play like an obscure song out of another song. Some rock bands do that, but to actually like interweave like a complex horn jazz number like that, with complicated, interlaid parts, it's just really impressive. They do it on the fly too, and which I don't think they actually dropped it after the end of the spring, right? They didn't play it the summer and they didn't play it the fall.
Yeah, I
So
think it kind of didn't show up near as often as the year went on. It was pretty exciting to hear it the few times we got to hear it.
They kept playing. I was gonna say they kept playing stand. Did keep playing Stand Back a little bit here and there, but I think
Yep.
they just kind of stuck a little bit. They cut it down a little bit.
they cut it down. Yeah, I actually saw them in Savannah in the spring, and they played just Stand Back. So they didn't add
Right.
it. It was probably on the way out at that point. You know, which is great for fans that did catch it, like you, Dave. I mean, it's a treat, to be able to have those experiences, and then maybe they'll never do it again, or maybe they'll bring it back in 5 years or something. That's the beauty of this band and how they change things up, and how it's unexpected when you walk in the door what you're truly going to experience. And so that's again that getting back to why I do these things. It's fun to reflect upon all the inner changes and constant get the guesswork, I guess.
Right, for sure. Freddie Hubbard is the artist
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
originally recorded Mr. Clean. Yeah, and there's we're talking, there's like a narrative and a story to this band, and it's fun for us to follow that as it evolves. And there was a story to this past year, and And in terms of even, their song selections and then how they put their set lists, we know that there's a method to the madness. And I'm thinking of another post. I forget what someone said. It's just one of those like, oh, what do you want to hear them play next year? Kind of like post. And I think it was Daniel Marino, who might be joining us, another fan who's been on the show before. And basically he just replied, just all the originals that they haven't played in a while. Like that's like what I look forward to the most. It's like, what originals have you not played in a while?
Like this one
from Let Me Get By, or Sweet and Low, Let Me Get By,
like this one, Sweet and Low,
songs, and a handful from Signs they haven't played. And there's a bunch from even Revelator. There's always stuff.
Sure,
sweet like your T-shirt there, the Sweet and Low. So it's like that's what I want to hear, or the originals, or even some covers that they haven't played in a while. Are fun, but let's continue on with the journey.
Well, I think Larry mentioned in his article as well. I think it was the last show in Florida was Pensacola, and it was a spot that Ann and I had never been to before to see TTB, and that's when they kind of went the tongue-in-cheek route and had a big smile when they did Anyhow into Chevrolet, right? They gave the nod. I think I might have been the only time they put those two together. I'm not sure, but it was you could really see the band kind of laughing and definitely it didn't fall. I certainly knew where that was going. I don't know how many people in the crowd did, but it was that was really a funny thing with the commercial being pretty popular right back at the towards the beginning of the year.
I joke about it, but I wonder like how often either this band in this case or something like this case, like how often bands are literally contractually obligated to play certain songs like at their shows if there's some sort of cross promotion. Like people might request, oh, can you be sure you play Midnight in Harlem at this show? And then the band's like, sure, no problem, Derek will say. But is it ever like written down like in a contract? It's like, you must play this song, you must play Anyhow and Chevrolet 5 times at upcoming shows in these markets. I wonder if it's ever that like specific with band, maybe probably with like certain bigger bands or certain songs that have big promotional.
I know they did it at the one of the Ryman shows this year. They played Anyhow followed by Chevrolet. I think it was the Saturday night show, maybe, if I'm.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. They actually opened with those two. You're right, Garrett. They did do it a second time. You're right.
I remember being kind of like you, David, when they went into Chevrolet from Anyhow. I kind of reacted the same way. I kind of chuckled at it and was watching the band's faces too, and it was funny to watch them react and kind of look at each other and kind of smile like, ha, we pulled a good one. And
I bet it's
everybody. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I bet it's like a casual agreement between like the business partner and the band. Like, oh yeah, we'll play it a few times. Can you guys play that a few times? Sure, we'll play it a few times, rather than like a serious thing. I want to let you continue in a second, Garrett, but I want to bring in Daniel Marino, who's here as well, who's gonna join in the chat. How we doing, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
What's up, for sure. Where are you at?
I'm right outside of Philadelphia at home.
Nice. I want to go back to Garrett because he was saying something about Chevrolet or the show or something. Where were you going?
Oh, I was just gonna say it was unique when they did that because you could see the band was reacting to it and kind of smiling and laughing at it, and kind of the crowd was kind of in the same mood. So everybody would just kind of felt the same way about that combo that. Everybody, if you're not really a TTB fan, you probably knew Anyhow from the commercial. And then, maybe somebody was in there and they're like, oh, well, haha, yeah, this kind of makes sense because they went into a song about a Chevrolet after they played the song that was in the commercial. So, I mean, I don't know how often people that may not know them go to a show like the Ryman, but, maybe they knew Anyhow and then they kind of caught the inside joke with Chevrolet at the end of it.
That got me thinking, though, what you just said. I don't know if they're going to go to this show like right away to the Ryman, but if people do get exposed to music in all different ways from all different places, like, so if someone hears that song and you hear it a couple of times during football season, during commercials, during the before they go to the breaks or whatever, like, you can get the band could get new fans from that. They hear, what's that song? Oh, let me look up that band. Let me Shazam it. Let me check them up on Spotify. And then before you know it, you're like a fan, you're going to shows and all that. So I'd be curious, like, how many new fans, because this band is constantly getting new fans, and just from talking to you guys over the years, like, all of us came in at different points. So it's like, that just goes to show, like, anyone could come in at any different time and have as much passion for this band as we all do.